Peter found a cool Twitter thread about how soon AI is just going to be running on our phones and running on our laptops, like just a local installation of a full large language model. And we talk about what a disaster that's going to be. Is that a fair characterization?
It is.
Nope.
No, that's. I don't think you guys were totally on board. I'm the one who thought it was a disaster.
I'm still focused on how cool and how fast this tech has been developed. Just tune in for that at least. You know, if you want to talk about anything else, join Discord and subscribe, and we can talk about it later. But yeah, it's a cool thread. Well, this was a really interesting thread that I saw on Twitter. It was who was the author there, please? I can't quite see it on the screen at the moment.
No Mayor Pete.
Ah, right, yes.
Non-Mayor Pete. Non-Mayor Pete.
Non-Mayor Pete, yeah. What's his actual name, though? Right, that's the Twitter account name.
It's Pete.
It says the name above his account name, right?
Pete. His name's Pete.
Pete. Ah, okay. Yeah,
that was the part you couldn't see.
Ego.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, I can't see anything because I have it I have the recording window really tiny up by the camera, so that that's where I'm looking. Anyway, this was a thread about how it's all about how AI is going to end up on our personal devices, and we're going to have personal AIs. And it talks about the incredibly rapid progress of getting these LLMs, these large language models, running on smaller and smaller devices in such a short time frame. So when ChatGPT was released and the world went nuts, it was this massive model running on very expensive hardware provided by a service that was tightly controlled by OpenAI. So, it wasn't really feasible for anybody to actually implement it on their own. And the requirements for it were just bonkers. But then Llama was released, which is I think by Meta, and it was basically a model that was sort of open sourced, and it was given to people, were given developer access to it, and then there was someone put a torrent out of it, and then someone wrote a way for it to get running on your local machine, and then people start taking it apart and getting it running on lower and lower end hardware, which was quite crazy. And then they started integrating it with other AI systems like Whisper, which is a voice recognition software. And then there was a text to voice piece of software. There's a couple of demos in this thread. Absolutely incredible. Check it out in the description below, where you can see someone running it on like a Raspberry Pi, which is something that just, it's like a credit card size PCB that, you can fit in your pocket. This guy has a conversation with him about when was C invented. It's quite slow, but this has all happened in like a month. It's crazy the rate of development here. And he speaks. You can see it getting translated into text. You can see the AI thinking about it, or the model thinking about it, and then responding with quite a reasonable answer and having a conversation.
So flippantly, I want to say, he invented a less efficient Alexa. Or Siri.
Well, it absolutely is. Like Siri, one of the things about Siri is, and one of the reasons why it can give you very fast responses, is that it does as much as it can on the device. Did you know, by the way, that Apple devices have an NPU, like a natural, designed for processing models? It's not used by a lot of software at the moment, but it does exist on like the latest iPhones and stuff. So Apple have been including this hardware in their devices. I think it's really going to come and start to shine soon. But the point of the thread was that people... So one of the biggest problems with AI at the moment is privacy. People are just throwing whatever they like at it. They're throwing their financial statements in and asking, hey, how can I get, pay less tax? That kind of stuff, which is really dumb because they're sending to a third-party service which has basically no privacy rules onto it, in it. And so privacy is a huge problem, and this kind of solves it because we will have our... I would love to have a little AI running on my Android device, which I am in control of, and I know which data is coming in and out. I don't think it will actually end up like this because, third-party services will always be involved, and Google will suck up all your data. But it's kind of cool. So yeah, that's why I wanted to...
I think that we will get to a point where you will have options. So you can currently do this, but it's a bit shit. So
yeah,
we will reach a point where you can host a language model at home on a Raspberry Pi, containerized even, let's say.
Oh, yeah.
In a Docker container. So super tiny, super duper small. And you have an external drive with a few terabytes of data that it learned from, and that's it. Boom, you have one. And the alternative to that is, of course, you have to set it up yourself. You have to maintain it. It's going to be sick. Alternatively, you will just have the Google language model or the Apple language model or whatever, and the Windows, for your PC. Like, we're all going to get these third-party cloud-connected language model AI assistants. But if you want to, you're just going to be able to host it at home. Now, you can do this today, sans the language model part. However, some guy figured out to, like you said, Peter, basically utilizing ChatGPT's API or OpenAI's API. Try to say that a few times. You can use a text-to-speech or speech-to-text converter and a home assistant, open source home assistant like Raspy or something that will then interface with the API. So you can query ChatGPT like a home assistant already. And I don't know if you can be like, hey, ChatGPT, remind me in 30 years to turn my stove off, right? But eventually we'll get there. I think that's super cool.
We're already there. It's okay. This thing is going so quickly that nobody can keep track of what the development. There's a thing, if you Google taxi AI, there is there's an integration with a browser where you tell it to. There's a thing. A general AI is where, rather than asking it a question or a series of questions, you tell it to do something. It will figure out what it needs to do, how to do it, and then do it, rather than just you going through those steps yourself. Those are the bits that the next level up. So there's a demo of saying just to the AI, watch Oblivion. I want to watch Oblivion. And then it loads Netflix. It searches for Oblivion, the movie. It finds it. It clicks play, and it does all the bits in between for you. So it's really slow and clunky, but it will happen. Sorry. I have a point about privacy which I want to make, but I don't want to speak.
I was going to say, it's going to be so dynamic and fluid that you're going to be able to get up while watching the movie to go to the bathroom, and it's going to pause the movie for you without you speaking a word. Yeah, because it knows you're the one watching, right? Oh, it's going to be so cool. There's going to be so many tiny quality of life improvements from this.
It'll be worse than that. You'll finish eating and head towards your living room, and it'll say to you, hey, it looks like you got a couple hours on your schedule open. Do you want to watch Oblivion? Or maybe you'd like this other movie.
That's true. It'll be predictive. You're right. It will be predictive. And the scary part there is that that's going to be able to be manipulated into, hey, you've got an extra $300 in your bank account this month. Do you want to look at Amazon.com?
And then it won't even ask. Then it'll just say, oh, hey, I just went ahead and ordered this thing for you. Isn't that awesome? You'd be like, yeah, that is awesome. That's exactly what I wanted.
That's exactly what I needed. How did you know? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Who am I?
I walk into the room and Oblivion's already playing. I didn't. What?
You know what? I'm kind of into it. That's what
exactly
I wanted.
What I
was in the mood for Oblivion today.
I kind of like it. I think I might sign up for that. That's plugging in.
Creepy.
That's jacking me in.
But I can totally see it predicting you that well. It knows you so well that it'll be like, hey, you haven't watched Lord of the Rings in almost a year.
It will use your own life to train the model.
Yeah.
Peter, wrap this up with a dry privacy point.
Sure. Okay, dry privacy point. One thing that occurred to me just now is it's quite interesting that privacy is such a core part of the conversation already. So when social media was being developed, maybe it's just a product of I'm in an echo chamber. I'm in a little bubble. But to me, it feels like people are already talking about privacy implications of this technology right from the beginning. Like when social media was being developed and becoming a thing, when Instagram was starting off and Meta or Facebook or whatever kicked off, nobody cared about privacy. Nobody knew about it. It wasn't a concern for anybody. But this time, it seems to be more a part of the public perception about being a danger.
So humans
maybe
can
that's a good
actually
sign.
learn.
Yeah, I think it's a
that-
byproduct. I think it's a byproduct of us getting burnt so many times. That's what I think
Yeah.
it is.
That's
Is
how
being
humans
able to
evolve,
get
right?
used to asking what are the privacy implications. Because like you said, MySpace, like we were children, posting everything about ourselves online. Predators, never heard of them. Like, but now we've been conditioned, we're learning, we're gonna make the same mistakes for sure, but it's gonna be sick, and I'm very excited.
It's going to be a disaster.
Yeah, maybe the last 20 years of effort hasn't been completely in vain.
It's going to be a disaster. It's going to be, but I'm going to save all my doom and gloom for tomorrow's episode, where we're going to talk about
Such a
if the
doomer.
fear of AI is really a fear of capitalism. I say there's plenty of fear to go around.
All right.